Okay, guys, welcome back to a new episode, episode 5 of the VolBoyz podcast. I hope Vol Nation is hype after the big win Saturday over the Gators. Also, remember to follow our socials on Instagram and Twitter. That's VolBoyz Podcast with a Z. I'm Connor. I'm hosting for today, and we are joined today by the boys. We got Trevor today,
Sir, go Big Orange.
Levi,
Let's go, baby! The Gators can't handle us.
and Andrew.
Train, baby! We going to Atlanta, baby. Let's do it.
Okay, thank you guys for joining in today. We're going to get right into it today, looking at the Florida game recap. So, we're going to start out with a quick little recap of the game. Trevor, I want you to start us out, actually, and tell us what your thoughts were on the game.
Well, I mean, going in, we kind of knew Florida was going to give it their all. This is the best game they're probably going to play all year. Let's be real. They always play the best against us. And we just couldn't pull away. Looking at the game, every time we scored, they answered pretty much with a long drive, 5 or 6 minute drive. Couldn't pull away, but overall happy with the performance. The team looked better than the score shows. I think overall as a whole, our offense played the best game that they have all season. What an impressive game for them to take over the second half like they did. Um, that 99-yard drive to end the first half really defined our season, I think.
Mhm.
That impressive catch by Ramel Keaton. Insane catch. Stretching out for that ball. Hooker got hurt on the previous drive. Able to lay the dime right to Keaton, man. That was insane. The resilience by Hooker was extremely impressive. He played out of his mind. And then, to follow up the score at the end of the first half with a score to start the second half, that really set the tone for the rest of the game. And, I think we pulled away at the end, and of course we let them come back in the last 5 minutes, but we dominated that second half. I was really happy with that. And Vol Nation showed out, man. The crowd showed out. Connor was at the game. I'm excited to hear his thoughts because he
Oh,
was
yeah.
actually at the game. That's hype. Um, that that being said, the crowd didn't have as much of an impact on the game as I thought. As in, we didn't force you know penalties or mistakes by Florida as much as I would have liked. But I mean, Vol Nation showed out, man, and I'm excited for that Bama game coming up because it's gonna be just as good of an atmosphere. So yeah.
That's facts. Levi, what about you?
It's a good game, man. You know, I was happy. I was happy with the way Tennessee played throughout most of the game. Defense, I mean, not the best game they could have, but not honestly not the worst game either. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
we already were expecting our defense to be bad this season, so I mean, but hopefully we can work on maybe covering a little better. I think that's probably something they need to work on. But overall, pretty happy with the way Tennessee played. I will say I think we kind of screwed up at the end. We kind of took our foot off the gas because we didn't think they would come back, which I think Kaipo will probably learn from that in the future, hopefully. But I think if we didn't take our foot off the gas, we would have flown away. Also, it was great to see that Florida was so desperate that they had to go for fourth down, and so that just makes
Yeah.
me happy just seeing them desperate. And it wasn't us this time. Normally, it's us as the team that is desperate for the win, but it wasn't us this time. We were the better team, and we came out and won, and that it's great. It's great to finally beat Florida. It's been a few years, and it just feels great, man.
It definitely flipped the script. I mean, it just seemed like we outmatched them,
Yeah.
and like Levi was saying, we didn't do that years past.
Up until like the end of the game, I didn't really feel like we were gonna lose. Like
Yeah, I
for pretty
didn't
much
either.
the
Hmm.
most of the game, I felt like pretty confident. Like I wouldn't say like I was like 100% confident, but I was like I'm liking how we're playing right now, and like I felt good. I was like if we can get a stop, we're winning this game. And then we did, and I was like, "Oh, we're winning this game." And I got so confident, and then we let them come back there in like the last three or so minutes or 2 minutes, and so that was frustrating because it was just like you play so good the whole game, you're the better team, and then you're about to let them come back and win the game in the last 2 minutes and just destroy all of that. And that was, I thought they were going to do it there. In all honesty, I really thought they would. Thankfully, they didn't, though. So, yeah, that's what I got to say on that.
Yep. Andrew.
Dude, yeah. I don't even know where to start on this game. I just think, for the first time in a couple years, it's felt like Tennessee does have the better team over Florida, And I mean, the past, 16, 17 games that they played, Florida's dominated it for the most part. And to be fair, Tennessee has had the better team a couple years. Florida's had it a couple years. And honestly, a lot of the years they've just been matched. And Tennessee's always on the other side of it. So it was cool to finally see us find a way to win once again, second game of the season that had me on a roller coaster of emotions. You can ask Trevor that. I literally almost cried when Florida kicked that onside kick and almost literally, I thought for sure, honestly, they were going to pull another Hail Mary and win it, to be honest.
Dude, I was screaming.
Yeah,
Screaming.
I was screaming. Sunbelt Billy made some pretty gutsy calls. And to his point, I will say, I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but we could not stop them on fourth down, it felt like. I mean, there was a couple times the fumble and things like that. But I mean, dude, defensively we gotta step up like we did in that Pitt game, I feel like a little better. Secondary got kind of burnt in some blown coverages and stuff, just not covering as well. But I think they made stops when they needed to. Happy offense couldn't be stopped. I mean, they were just big play after big play. Going back to what Trevor was saying, that huge drive right before the half, just laying it out to Ramel Keaton, and not even we were worried that Hooker was honestly, maybe going to be out or with an injury or something, or not come back in the second half. And he goes out and just throws that dime 99-yard drive to the house, and I mean, that was good to see. And yeah, like Levi says, to the point, I just felt, we were the better team. I felt overall this game, and I felt pretty comfortable. We went up 3 scores, and I think Heupel and, we just got a little conservative and just bad play calling, timeouts and things like that. I just think we shouldn't even been in that situation at the end, and the score doesn't really show that. But dude, this game's just happy to get a win because honestly, a lot of the times we're on the other side of it. So overall, I'm super happy. Offense, I mean, to not even punt once in the game is kind of impressive to me. So super happy with it, dude. There's some things obviously to clean up and work on, but to do it without Cedric Tillman too for one, your starting receiver, I think Brew, Keaton, Hyatt, even the tight ends played really well. And Jabari Small, dude, I thought he played great. He actually showed out today after, not really knowing if he was going to be able to go full steam and whatnot. He played great today, or great Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Definitely looking at that, going towards that end of the game. I mean, definitely shouldn't have had ourselves in that situation. And I think that going back to what Levi said is we sort of like let off the gas. I mean, when you're being absolute dominant in the passing game, you understand you're trying to seal the game with running the ball, but it's just like going in on that second and third down where you're 2nd and 15 and then you're still trying to run the ball. I mean, that sort of like that kills the momentum for you, especially, and that puts the momentum on the other team. But what I love to see, and even though it wasn't a big defensive game, just the way the defense stepped up on that last drive to where Florida definitely could have won it. And it was very scary to see, but just the way the defense was just like, okay, if we don't stop them here, we're going to lose in the game. And the way they stepped up, especially with the pass rush. I mean, Anthony Richardson is just absolutely insane. I don't know how he was able to escape so many times. That's really what got us throughout the whole game was just his scrambling ability to where the wide receivers could just get open, find the open spot in the field. And like Trevor said, being at the game, I mean, it was just, you're seeing everything fast and in motion, no real replays throughout the game. And it's just something different. Like, you're going play by play, especially with Tennessee's offense. Like, by the time you try to look up at the scoreboard to be like, okay, what happened in the last play, they're already set to snap and they already snapped the ball. I mean, like, you got to be full on focused for this year's Tennessee football team. and it's definitely something to like. Enjoyed the whole game, but like you all are saying, it's just that defense definitely scared us in the way they stepped up versus Pitt. They definitely didn't do as well, but there's some positives that came from this game, and that leads us into our next topic, which is our positive takeaways. So, if Trevor, you want to take us off on that?
Yeah, I mean, to start out, I was extremely encouraged by the way the offense played. I think that's very obvious to say. But I mean, looking at, the Pittsburgh game, um, Hooker was inaccurate to start those games. Well, honestly, for all the games this season, but mostly for the Pittsburgh game. We started out slow um, in the Pittsburgh game. We started out slow in this game as well, as in we didn't get that many points on the board to start out. But Hooker looked like he was on a whole different level from the beginning of the game. That's what I was really encouraged by. Was he balled out from start to finish. There was no. He looked like he was from last season, the same player. The guy that we knew and that we love. Is dotting people up all across the field. Um, the accuracy is on point. Didn't miss any opportunities. Guys, the run game by him, I was kind of hating on it in weeks past because he didn't look that good running the football, running up the middle, but he found a way to escape the pocket and run outside to the sidelines and really make some big plays with his legs. And I think that's what we're kind of missing in this offense. So that was great to see, honestly. Also, like, just kind of like what Andrew was saying about, earlier, to not have Tillman there, his Hooker's safety blanket is Tillman. But he
Mhm.
showed that he didn't need. Well, I mean, we still need Tillman, but he showed he didn't like need to lean on Tillman um to make big plays. He spread the ball around, and that was great to see. It almost seemed freeing for him not to focus on one player and try to force him the ball the whole time. Another thing I want to take away is just Jabari Small played an amazing game. He
Mhm.
really stepped it up for us, and we've been looking at earlier games this season, and he has not played very well. He dominated in the run game whenever we called on him, which was not very often. Um, and also in the pass game, I think he had a receiving touchdown as well.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, he did.
he
Um,
did.
It was the one
he
after
stepped
that
up.
callback too, where we had
Yeah,
scored and they like had a penalty or whatever.
he stepped up, and I think that was really important for this team. It's really important going forward. We were talking about getting the run game involved, and that's what makes our offense so good. Is the mix between the
Mhm.
run and the pass, keeping defenses honest with the run game. The last thing I want to take away, positive takeaway, is just defensively there is positives, and I think the positives start with the pressure. When we called blitz plays, we were getting pressure. Now
Mhm.
Richardson did escape
Yeah.
a few times, but we were getting QB hurries. We forced him to make some bad throws. Um, we didn't bring pressure that much, but when we did, we forced him to make bad throws. I was also encouraged to see us to get to fourth down. Like I know they were 5 of 6 on fourth downs, which is horrible. But in a normal game where you call that game normally, not desperate, we got them to fourth down very often. They were able to extend drives, but we had struggled with getting off the field on third down. We struggled this game with getting off the field on fourth down. But to get to third down, get to that fourth down situation where, they would have punted that ball in a normal game
Mhm.
or from normal play calling standpoint.
And then we probably would have scored too.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So I'm just saying, all I'm saying is this could have been a lot worse of a score. Our defense did bend, but it didn't break until we got to that fourth down. I'll let Levi take it over from here, but that's all I got to say about that one.
Since you didn't talk about this, the first thing I want to talk about is the receivers. Just proud of them, honestly. Ramel especially. Like I think Brew might have had an overall better day, but Ramel had that one catch that was insane and a few others that I liked. But it's just nice to see all of them step it up and get us there even without Cedric. And it shows me that we got a lot of good players in that wide receiver group, and I hope to see more of
Mhm.
them. I want Ramel to keep getting some more playing time and get
Dude, I told
some
you
more
he was my
minutes too.
breakout player of the game, but like he was my breakout prediction.
Yeah, and he played great. And then defensively, I mean, we were rough. I think if we can fix our secondary, if we can get them dialed in, and we can fix some stuff, I think we have some good athletes in our secondary. I think a lot of it's mental, because it's not like we're getting beat. Like, I mean, sometimes there are some times where we're getting beat, but a lot of times they aren't reading right, or they're not in the right position, or it's like they're not covering well, and so it's just we're leaving them wide open. It's not like we're getting beat like how our receivers beat defenses. We're just leaving players wide open, and it's like it'll be like a dink pass, like just up close, and we'll pass it to them, or they'll pass it to them, and it'll be wide open, and then they'll break for a big game a lot of times. And we're just like we're not watching for that. And so I don't know. I don't really like the zone defense with our secondary, because our secondary doesn't have a
Mhm.
good zone. But I
Yeah.
mean, I trust Tim Banks to make the right decision, but I don't know. The zone it's kind of a little iffy, but overall, I think the defense played not great, but I think they can get better. And then Hooker, of course, had an amazing game. We went from being like slightly worried about him because looking he wasn't looking up to what we thought he could look. But after this week, he looked as good as I think he can, and I think he can even play better. But I think what he did this weekend shows me that he has the potential to be one of, if not the best quarterback in the country going forward. But yeah, those are my positive takeaways.
Yeah, for me, I'll start offensively. I think just, you know, with how we were just able to move the ball down the field, I feel like just how calculated and just how well, like old just the whole freaking offense just feels like with, Alex Golish and Josh Heupel calling it. I just think that's a positive takeaway because, I mean, Florida really had no answers, to be honest. I mean, some of them were just chunk plays and just blown coverages by Florida, which was not good. But their secondary was actually highly, looked upon to be like the best. That their strength was their secondary, I've heard. But I thought our receivers did a great job. I mean, positive takeaway. I mean, not even having Cedric Tillman and just our receiver depth and just how much trust that Hooker has in all those guys. I mean, laying it out to Ramel, and he just makes that amazing grab. That one of the cleanest, nicest just layouts I
Mhm.
mean, like completely
Yeah.
I mean, it was super nice. Uh, just that, and our run game. We had a good run game going for a little bit. It got stuffed at the beginning. The second half is really where it kind of came. But just seeing Jabari, I don't know why it's felt like this, but I feel like Jabari plays better when he's been injured. Because last year he had the same kind of injury, and he was kind of doing a lot better. I felt like, which I guess at the beginning of the year last year we had Ty on or whatever, but. um, Positive takeaways from offensively, we just really had no problems moving the ball down the field. I think they were able to dial it up. I didn't think we played with as much tempo as usual. I think we definitely tried to slow it down, make sure we had the right lineup and set just to make sure we could match the coverage what they're given. But I think just the way that Hooker stepped up too, big time. I mean, people are talking about him being in, a dark horse for the Heisman now for sure, maybe even a front runner. But it'll be hard to compete. Just Tennessee's got to keep winning games to really put his name out there up, more and more in that list. But definitely put him on the map for sure, if not, already. Defensively, man, no. Uh, I thought our front played good for sure. I do want to point this out. The freshman coming in when we got that ball, let's see, it was down there on the goal line, and they rotate. Tyler Barron and Byron Young aren't even in. First play, I feel like it was on that first down. Florida was right on their own goal line, and the freshman comes in, getting pressure off the side, almost got the sack right there. Uh, close to intentional grounding too. Somehow Richardson got out of that, but just I'm starting to see more and more of these guys, the freshmen, not just Byron Young, that are able to come in and make good plays. We got to get off the field. That's something they've got to work on. But I think just being able to get turnovers when you absolutely need them, right, with the fumble from Richardson, punching out, taking advantage of opportunities when they're there. I think overall, like Trevor said, they bent for sure, but they didn't break. So that's a positive I'll take away from that. But those are my takeaways, I guess, offensively and defensively, bro.
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, going back to what you said, I just feel like our defensively we're better while we're blitzing. Honestly, like
Hmm.
I've heard a lot of people talk about how I mean, Florida had a lot of sustained drives, right? A lot of like 10, 15 play drives, and uh, honestly, it might be better if we bring the house, force turnovers, or even if we get burnt. I'm okay with that, type of thing. Our offense can match their offense. I don't care who it is. Um, and what I'm just gonna touch on that real quick too. As far as you're talking about the tempo, I think it just shows maturity. To the evolution of this offense, right? To where last season it looked like if we weren't scoring within 2 minutes, we were out of rhythm.
Yeah.
To this season, being able to slow it down, seem like we're reading defenses a little bit better and scheming plays. To get guys wide open. It's just wild to be able to go fast, slow it down. It catches defenses off guard. You can go ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, Connor, you can go
Mhm.
ahead.
Oh no, you're all good. I was actually gonna make sure because I thought you had something to say. But looking into mine, I'm gonna start off. I have really three positive takeaways, like my biggest ones, and one of my big positives, which being at the game, I don't know if that really helped. But with me, I loved. Obviously, the secondary's tackling was not up to par of what we should have had this game. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of missed tackles.
obviously, yes, obviously that's where they got like Levi was saying, they're like chunk
Right.
yardage.
Yeah.
But like if you look at it, I mean, how many deep passing plays did they have? Like straight
Yeah,
off the bat, throws deep. Like
like two,
all
one
the
or two,
yeah,
really.
and like just looking, especially some of the where they were getting close to the red zone and they were trying to throw it up for the end zone. Our corners were step for
Walking.
step with their wide receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love to see that at the game. And also, one of the big things, which everybody was talking about, kind of like Andrew was saying, like the secondary being a big thing, but also Florida's defensive line only had 2 QB hurries. They did have 3 sacks and 5 tackles for loss, but our offensive line stepped up this game. I felt like they were protecting Hendon Hooker. Obviously, there's a couple times where they got in, but I feel like that wasn't an instant thing. Like they were giving Hooker about 4 seconds in the pocket before he'd either scramble or try to get out of the pocket and got those sacks those 3 times or those 5 sacks that the defensive line got. But I mean, you got to think of these defensive tackles that everybody's talking about when they played USF and how they were just getting pressure constantly on that quarterback up the middle. I loved the way our offensive line played and the way that they were able to hold that defensive line long enough for Hendon Hooker to scan the field and make the plays that he needed to play. And that's, I feel like with anything, if you're coming for the Heisman as a quarterback, that offensive line is going to have to get something. They're going to have to get little mini Heismans or something because that's what's helping you win those games is giving you time to scan the field, find your passes. And then in Hooker's standpoint, I mean, once you feel that pressure, you're able to get out of there. Like you have the time. And that's, which leads me into my last positive takeaway was Hendon Hooker's play. Stepped up this game. Loved his passing. 22 of 28. Very decisive. And kind of like Trevor was talking about during our quick recap about just spreading the ball out. That's what we wanted to see. And I think he's definitely going to learn from that for these upcoming games once Tillman comes back. I mean, that's a big thing for him. I mean, it shows him that, hey, I have playmakers all over the field, and that's going to be a big step up. And our receivers did really well. If anybody doesn't have anything else, we can also move on to things that we can improve on, especially going into a bye week, which is really good. I feel like coming off a big game gives us a chance to regroup and recuperate before going into Death Valley playing LSU. Because we touched on a little bit of things that we can improve for you guys. So, Trevor, you want to start us out?
Yeah, I think the obvious one is just defensively coverage. Just figuring something out. I don't know. Maybe it's the game plan, how we game plan for LSU and for future teams. LSU has a good offense. I mean, Jaden Daniels is a good quarterback. They've got a great wide receiver, one of the best in the country. How are we going to stop him, as far as, he's a scrambler as well. Um, and I think that's we stopped them by bringing pressure. I think we did a pretty good job of containing Anthony Richardson as he was scrambling, while we brought pressure. We didn't really let him escape the pocket that often. Um, so I don't know. We just got to figure out this coverage thing. I don't think we can play man to man. I don't think we're good enough to play man to man. But as far as zone goes, like we're just our eyes are in the backfield and we're just letting guys sneak behind us, and it's crazy to me how wide open these guys are. And like we were talking about earlier, they're not deep passes. They're 5 to 10 to 15 yard passes, but they turn into chunk plays because of poor tackling, and that's something we also have to improve on. Offensively, I don't really see much, honestly. Like clean up some penalties, maybe. We had a couple delayed games, a couple false starts. A couple calls that wiped. I think we had a couple calls that wiped touchdowns off the board. Honestly, I am extremely happy with our offense. I don't think we could play any better on it. Like, don't turn the ball over. Obviously, once you get in the red zone, especially. But I'm very happy with how our offense played, and I'm very happy with how our defense stopped the run game. Um, their running backs got nothing that game, and that's good to see. But yeah, I think it's just pass coverage is our big need for improvement. I don't know if we can get any better. I don't know if that's something we're gonna have to wait on, for guys coming in. But yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I agree completely with Trevor. I don't really want to be reiterate anything he said because I mean he said everything perfectly. Like there's nothing else to really say about it. The defense needs to get better. Um, I think that's really all that's holding us back. And the pit game showed me that we can play to the level that we should be able to on defense.
Oh yeah.
And so,
and what did we do that game? We brought pressure, dude. We
yeah,
brought the
Mhm.
house like every play, and it takes the pressure off our DBs.
yeah,
Like I don't know. You can go ahead.
they just need to get better. It's great. Bye week comes at a perfect time. This LSU game is super important. I would say, other than maybe the Kentucky game, might be the most important game on the schedule. Because I mean, yeah, I mean the Alabama Georgia game, both those games are important. But like, you lose those, it's not a big deal because you're already expected to lose those. This LSU game, you should win. You're supposed to win. So go out there and win. And so hopefully this bye week can help and get the defense to get better. Let's all heal up, get Cedric Tillman better, and anyone else who's hurt healed up, ready to play. And I think that's all we really need to fix. I mean, our offense, I mean, our O line could be a little better, but even then, I think our O line's been pretty good all season. Um, there's not much I'd change on offense. Our run game could be better. Um, I think they're good at our running backs are good enough to be good. Part of it is I don't think our O line is great at run blocking because our best
Mhm.
runs of the season have been Cooker, and they were in that game on Saturday, and those weren't really good runs because of the offensive line. Some of them were good because the offensive line did a bad job and Hooker had to get out of there. And so that
I feel like we pushed around Florida's defensive line pretty
I
well,
think we did
especially
good,
on
but
Jabari's runs.
Yeah, they got better in the second half, but I definitely think that, which I mean, in all fairness, our passing is most of our offense. So you'd
Yeah.
rather than be better
Yeah.
at pass block than run block.
Yeah.
But still, um, it makes me a little nervous sometimes, our offensive line. But that's really all I'd change on offense. I mean, our receivers are great. Hendon Hooker's great. The running backs are pretty good. They could be better, but I think
They get the job done, really.
yeah, they get the job done. Our
For what
tight
we need them, yeah.
our tight ends have their moments.
Got to
Mhm.
take care of the football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just hurts to see, especially with how how much me and Andrew are talking up our tight ends, and then one of the first plays to Princeton fan. Just
Yeah, I mean, he redeemed it though.
oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
He got that same catch, went in almost for the tutty. So,
We also got to clean up our fumbles too, though. That's
yeah,
one last
yeah,
thing
for
I
sure.
bring
Ball
up.
security.
Maybe if during this bye week we can do some ball security drills, get the
oh
running
yeah,
backs better. Do like that thing where they go through a line of people trying to punch the ball out of their hand. That's a good drill
oh
for
yeah.
one. So yeah, other than that, there's not much else I improve. So you take it away, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Y'all have kind of pretty much hit everything. I think obviously the biggest thing to improve on the bye week's the defense, man. You gotta get off the field. I mean, if you can create some turnovers for your offense to be able to put the game away early, and you can just cruise to the end. You know what I mean? We just got to be better on third and fourth down. I guess you could say. We're doing good. I feel like not giving up the big plays for the most part. There's a couple of blown coverages, and I think that they're going to have to work on that. Going to this bye week because we're getting ready for a tough stretch here, guys. I mean, they got to start. Our players really got to start, locking in and getting ready to go here. I mean, you got LSU, which is honestly, I've bounced back and forth. I think LSU's been getting better every week. It's good that we play there at noon, right, instead of at night in Death Valley. That would be pretty bad,
Yeah.
but I think it's going to be a close game. I mean, I think. Shoot, I don't know what it is. We're pretty slim. I think we're picked right now to win, but that can bounce back and forth, especially how LSU plays this coming week.
One
But
weird thing I want to say real quick is the ESPN
hey, go ahead.
the ESPN FPI has LSU higher than us. It's like really high
Yeah,
on LSU
Yeah, but
for
Texas
some
is
reason.
number 6, and they
I know.
lost to Texas
The
Tech
F,
in overtime. It doesn't make any
the
sense.
FPI is weird after this week, so
yeah,
but other than that, we should win. But yeah, keep going.
yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think especially for Hendon. I think things to just clean up offensively. I think they're doing a great job. They did a great job this past weekend, starting off, getting pretty hot. It felt like for the most part. I mean, what the first drive was the fumble, right?
Yeah,
I
we just
Mhm.
think
kept shooting
so.
ourselves in the foot.
I
Like, we
think
started out
yeah, you clean
fast,
up stuff
but
like that. You clean up stuff like that, and lock in for another road game offensively. I think you're going to be good. Obviously, I don't, I don't know, man. I love the way Hendon ran. Then again, I get scared, dude, because a couple good hits and he can really do some damage. But I think he did well. If anything, offensively or at least for Hendon to practice is getting down. Like I know
Yeah.
he wants the yards and I know he wants the hits. Like Matt Corral was kind of the same way, but we saw what happened to him too
Mhm.
in that game last year. I mean, you're a tough guy, but when you keep taking hits, body shots, it can kind of start really getting annoying and hurt. But yeah, man, I think the biggest thing is defensively clean up coverages and ball security for some offense. And honestly, maybe after that onside kick, man, practice some more onside special team stuff. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but I think Brew did good the first onside. I think that second onside kick was just the perfect kick, dude. I
Pure
mean, the way
Yeah.
it
luck. That
it
bounced.
was
was a fluke.
pure
I
luck.
mean,
That was
yeah, that
that
Yeah.
was
was.
an
Plus,
athlete making a
yeah.
play, dude. I
Plus,
He
mean,
got
I
the
mean, he jumped right through
perfect.
there.
the
The
he was
kick.
bounce,
almost he was like right at the 10, like right at 10 yards too. Like that
yeah,
could
it's
have gone.
perfect.
He could have been right at 9 and gotten the penalty. It's just like
In all
that's not
honesty,
going to happen again
the
type
kick
thing.
wasn't even that great, honestly, because because it was kind of
That guy just came flying
Yeah.
in, bro.
it was
He just
too far for a normal person to catch that. That guy just made an insane play to be able to reach that and like at the perfect time too. That
I still don't like how we have like one guy to recover and like the
well,
rest of everybody's just blocking. I just
some
think that's
people were
stupid.
saying that we were backing up, which was part of the reason why they were able to get it. But I mean, in normal situations, a normal human would not be able to get that. So I mean, I understand to
I
an
mean,
extent, but
in
Yeah.
general, special teams still need to improve.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
And we ain't got D Williams back. I think he's gonna hopefully be back for the LSU game. Now, do you play him in that game? I don't know because game experience over guys that have game experience. And to be fair, what did Florida punt? I think Florida punted maybe once,
Yeah, they
right?
punted once. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. We got the fourth down 7 times,
Yeah. And
which
I
is
mean, you saw it too. I remember that play. Trayvon Flowers acted like the ball was. They didn't want him getting anywhere near it. That's what put us what? That was right before half, right?
that was
That
that
was
Yeah.
was a
when we made that
99
good
yard drive.
drive.
That set up
Yeah.
the 99-yard
Yeah.
drive. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So just practice some of that. I thought Brew did great this game too. I was hoping a little bit more out of Hyatt. He did good on that, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just keep it to the things we work on. Just lock in, play it game. Don't look ahead to Bama. I mean, they just need to focus on LSU and cleaning up some stuff for that game and get ready for another road game, man. This second road game, big test too. Both these first two road games for us are gonna huge testers, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
I am very interested on how this LSU game is gonna go, though. I feel pretty good offensively about it, and I don't really know what to think about LSU's offense. I'm gonna watch them, this week since Tennessee's off, and we'll see where they're at. But I've been hearing, you're getting better every week, so we'll see. It should be a good game. But yeah, that's what I feel like they need to kind of just work on during this bye week, and we're gonna get some guys healthy again too. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, well, we're definitely gonna be getting into that LSU game in our next episode, which sort of is getting us into rounding out the episode. Where one of the last things I want to talk about with the Florida game before we get just a little bit into, as we talked about, just looking ahead to the rest of the season and how we feel our schedule is looking. Which we touched on it a little bit, bringing up a couple guys, but I want each of us to give one player of the game for this Florida game, and we'll start it off with me actually, and then I'll hand it off to Trevor. But just looking at the game, I'm pretty sure most of us will be saying this, but I'm giving it to Hendon Hooker. I mean, just
Ben Hooker.
yeah, the way he was able to spread the ball around, it showed his maturity and how, like Trevor was talking about with Tillman out, like he is now seeing the field, and hopefully that spreads through the rest of the games.
Yeah, I'm going Hendon Hooker as well. I'm gonna keep it short and simple. I mean, it's a pretty basic answer, but I don't know. I was very impressed with how he played. His confidence going into this game is something we haven't seen all season. Accuracy was crazy. Running game crazy. He's my Heisman favorite now. I mean, it's biased, but man, he looks great. I'm very impressed. We haven't had a QB like this in a long time.
Josh
Um,
Dobbs, man.
Probably, yeah, since Josh Dobbs. But last thing I want to touch on before I'll give it off to Levi is just the resiliency. The to finish, I don't know, man. That drive where he got hurt, I was really worried. To come out, grimacing, dude, dotting up the field still. He was making passes all over the field with a hurt shoulder. He was running all over the field with a hurt shoulder on his throwing arm. Like,
Yeah.
this guy is a baller. He is a dog. And I mean, also just standing up for himself, talking crap to the Florida players. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Just a leader of this team. Quiet leader, but man, he was getting into it, and that was just exciting to watch.
So yeah, I'm gonna say, guys, that Warren Burrell was the best player of the game. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. He didn't even play. He didn't even play in the game.
I was like, wait, what?
The best player was Hooker, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no denying it. He's the best player of the game. And I'm not gonna go too long because I mean we're all gonna say Hendon Hooker probably, and we're all gonna say stuff. But I just want to talk about that one drive at the end of the first half. That drive was pivotal in us winning that game. It's just crazy that Hendon Hooker was able to lead us from the 1 yard line all the way to the end zone with like a minute or two to go in the half. That or it might have been less than a minute. I don't remember, but that drive was insanely good, and that was the drive where he made that crazy pass to Ramel. And that drive just makes me so happy as a Tennessee fan because it was perfect. I loved it, and
Mhm.
I'm just
Like I said, man, it
happy,
set the
man.
tone for the rest of the season. It
Yeah,
really did. It defined our season so far.
it was, it just make that game. This game made me happy, man. It's just great. It's great to feel, even if Tennessee doesn't end the season the, on top, because they probably won't. I just this season's made me so happy because it just shows me that Tennessee is good and Tennessee can compete. And I'm just tired of hearing everyone saying Tennessee will never be good again. And it's made me so happy to see Hendon Hooker be able to lead us to this. So yeah, he's definitely played the game. So take it away,
Mhm.
Andrew.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying Hooker too, dude. You just look at the stats, man. I mean, 22 for 28. He's accurate. Leader of this football team by, last year he became it. He didn't start out as it. He slowly worked his way, but this year it's just been completely different. Completely in control of the offense. I mean, accurate. 349, yards through the air, 112 on the ground. I mean, dude, just a legend. I like what Trevor was saying too. A couple of chippy moments in the game, and just standing up for yourself. Being that guy. Making sure you let them know that you weren't happy or just you're fired up, and just his poise, man. I loved it. Gritting and grinding it out. Comes off after that. That drive where he kind of gets hurt. And they finally wind up, I believe, taking a field goal. I'm not sure what happened at that point, but then comes back out after defense gets a stop, dots that thing up, dude. Gritting and everything. You can see it completely on camera. And I watched the interview after and just his reaction. It's part of football. You're gonna get beat up. You're gonna get banged up. It's just part of the game. You got to live with it and keep going. And I just love how dialed in and focused he is, dude. You can just tell how much of a leader and how mature he is. I mean, the guy's just I can't explain it. He doesn't break, you know what I mean? Or from what we saw so far. He looks a lot more just I'll say it again, mature just in the offense, I mean, he just looks like he knows what he's looking for. He knows when they line up, he knows what he's looking at defensively. And if you listen to him, just break down a play, the guy knows, you know, you can tell he watches film is all I'm gonna say. The way he breaks down a play or a defense, it's really impressive and cool to see. So, I mean, I'm with Trevor too. I think this guy's. I mean, he's one of my favorites for the Heisman. I don't. Like I said, they got a lot to do to put him, to boost his stock in that, compared to Bryce Young and Stroud and all those people. But he's definitely a name on people's radar. So that's my player of the game, hands down. I mean, the best player of that game, I feel like.
Yeah, I think after the game we all sort of had the same idea about who stepped up in this game, and we talked about it a little bit when we were talking about going through the bye week coming up on LSU. Looking at our schedule coming up towards the end of the season, going to be the last thing we talk about before we wrap it up. But we'll each just have a couple takeaways. I won't have too much to say, just because I'm pretty sure we're all going to have the same ideals. But just I'm going to list out what the schedule is, and we'll start out with Trevor. Just coming up with what your thoughts are, but starting out with LSU after the bye week, then going Alabama, which is at home, Then we have Tennessee Martin and Kentucky right after that, leading into Georgia at Georgia. That's going to be, in my opinion, probably one of the tougher games coming up. Then Missouri, South Carolina at South Carolina, which, fingers crossed, the boys will be at that game.
Yes, sir.
And wrapping up the end of the season with Vanderbilt. Trevor, you want to take us away?
Yeah, I got some quick takeaways, really. How I see it is we got 4 games we should win. South Carolina, UT Martin, Missouri, and Vanderbilt. We got 2 games that are toss-ups in my eyes. LSU and Kentucky. And then 2 games we should lose, which is Bama and Georgia. Obviously, those takeaways are not guaranteed. But I think we can all agree that that's the breakdown. This LSU game coming up is huge, and honestly, I think I underestimated LSU. It's going to be a lot tougher than I was thinking. Kentucky's always tough. I mean, let's be real. And then the rest of the games that we should win, all those teams just look bad. I'm really not worried about any of those games. Maybe South Carolina a little bit, not really though. Like, it's a game we should win. And then Bama and Georgia, I'm just excited to see what can we, what we can do in those games. Can we compete? Like that would be just be competitive, keep it close, keep it within a score or two, have a chance to win the game, by the end. That would be amazing. I would be extremely impressed. This coaching staff has done so much with less, and I think we all tip our cap to them. They've been impressive. The coaching staff has been impressive. I'm just thankful we're in this position. It's crazy to think about for sure.
Yeah. We have a
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
easy end of the year schedule too after Georgia with Missouri, Vanderbilt, South Carolina. I think that's nice. One bad thing though is we just have the tough stretch of LSU until and through Georgia.
Yeah.
I think we have a very good chance of going 10-2, honestly. Um, I mean, I'd hope for better, and I mean, if we do go 8-4 or 9-3, it's not the worst thing in the world. But right now, I think Tennessee should go 10-2, and that's just my belief right now. I think we should beat LSU and beat Kentucky. I think we're better than both of those teams, and I think we should win. And so 10-2 is what I think should be the end of the year for us. But it's Tennessee football. You never know, man. We choke games
Yeah,
away. So, but that's just
Not
my
this
side of it.
not this year, man. I don't think
Yeah,
we did it. Not this team, dude. Not
I
this
Yeah,
couldn't
team.
see it.
I hope so. I'm
I
confident
just
in
get
us.
yeah.
But
The
yeah, you
only
can
thing
go,
that
Andrew.
scares me with that, oh yeah, sorry. The only thing is like it takes me back to 2016. We win against Florida, Georgia, then we lose what to South Carolina or Vanderbilt or somebody
I
like
just think
that.
that's what makes this team different. This team's
Yeah,
different than that. I think we've proved that so far this year, and I think
Yeah.
that's what makes this team better, man. Honestly.
yeah.
I think this team's
I'm
elite.
trying
Yeah.
to yeah. I'm trying to stay kind of, I mean, we're only what 4 games in still got a lot of football left to play and a lot more left out on the field. And you never know what can happen in college football. That's why it's college football and why we like it and we hate it at the same time. Just with injuries and everything. But looking up, dude. Going back to what Trevor says, I think we have, and Levi, at the end of I think we have an easy end of the year kind of like games, or end of the season games after Georgia. I think this LSU game will really kind of decide where I feel like we're going to do with LSU and Kentucky. I feel like those are going to be pretty hard games. I can toss up either way. I think Bama. If you look at the game last year with what we had, we played all the way up to the fourth quarter, and then
Yeah.
just depth kind
Yep.
of just killed us. So, and we've
At
added more
Bama.
of that. Yeah, at Bama, and we've added more of that. And obviously Bama's got more too, and they've had the whole Texas thing, but they played pretty solid against Vanderbilt. Not that that's saying anything, but they did what they were supposed to do. I think it's going to be a good game. I really think, 9-3 is very realistic for me. I mean, that's kind of where I see us at. Do I see us going 10-2? 100%, I could see that too. I just really want to see this LSU game and see where I can make off of that. But I feel like the wins that I expect are most definitely Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and Mizzou for sure, and also UT Martin. We didn't even talk about them, but yeah, I mean that's 4 easy games for sure. 2 toss-ups, Kentucky, and which I think the overall advantage there is Kentucky's playing at in Knoxville. I haven't been overly impressed with Kentucky. I do think Will Levis is a great quarterback. I don't think he's got that many weapons compared to he lost Wandale Robinson or whatever last year
Their
from
defense
last
is
year,
carrying
but.
them right now.
Yeah, their defense is really solid, which that's somewhere where Tennessee it's not. They've shown it in the Pitt game, but they haven't shown it consistently. Which I feel like, which I'm not saying. I think our offense will still not really have any problems. I mean, you look last year at Georgia and how elite that defense was, which we put up 17, which is not really saying too much, but for the first year in that offense, and having Hendon and all them, I think we did pretty solid against that defense, which wound up winning the national, last year. But, I think it's exciting what's ahead, but it's also such a challenge. We're going to keep constantly the next couple weeks going up this hill of, just getting more and more, competitive hard. And these away games, obviously we have the little buffer with UT Martin that 1 week, but it's going to be interesting, dude. I really think this LSU game, mark my words, is going to define kind of like how the rest of the season goes with, those other tough games like Kentucky, Bama, Georgia, and maybe a couple more. But I really think this LSU game is a little bit more important than what we might think. You know what I mean? Especially since it's being that second road game. But I mean, regardless, I think that Florida win's huge. A win's a win in that rivalry right there, man. But I'm excited, dude. We're gonna see what happens.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like one of the things I want to bring up before we end off this episode is just looking at the schedule, which I know I said I wouldn't say too much, but one of the things I want to say is hot take. I could see us going 12-0. Looking at the way Georgia played versus Kent State, it's a one-game thing, and they did pull off the win, but I mean, it shows hope, especially with Tennessee, the way Tennessee's offense is, and how late it will be in the season. I think our defense can definitely work our way up to that Georgia game, and obviously, as Andrew said, we're going to have to be playing it a game at a time. I mean, we have to be looking at the LSU game, and then right after that, we're going to be looking. I mean, we can't be looking ahead to Alabama and Georgia, all these, because these are late season games. We got an opponent ahead of us. That's the one opponent that we need to look at. But Texas, Kent State, Alabama, Georgia, those two teams. I mean, not saying that there's a high possibility, but like I think one of my big hot takes is Tennessee could have a possibility of being a 12-win team if the cards are played right. But I will end it off with that. This is going to conclude.
Let me say one
Oh
thing.
yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think Georgia's as unbeatable as everyone thinks they are. Neither is Alabama. And so I wouldn't count out 12-0. I don't really think for me
Yeah.
I want to say that yet because I don't know, I don't want to jinx it or it's not
Yeah, and I just think we're
I think
really
Tennessee can win
still.
any game is what I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
it's gonna be
why I pull out
interesting.
the hot take. I mean,
No, I like it. Honestly, I like the point
Hey.
you're saying about just Georgia's late in the season. I think that gives us a big advantage.
yeah.
Or
Yeah, man,
not
and
like
it's
an
just
advantage
really how
over
you.
Georgia, but
It's really how we're just going to come out and play each game, and we've shown it, I feel like every Saturday so far. But the big question, I'm not saying we won't, but will we show up that way every Saturday? Every team has an off time or, an off game, I feel like, at least at some point. Not that I'm saying that all teams do, but I'm saying that's definitely a factor. I'm 100%, any team I feel like can win on any given Saturday, man. It don't matter, rivalry, anything, dude. You see upsets. I mean, especially this year, dude. It's been insane with upsets and different things. I think there's a solid top 3 teams probably right now. But looking overall at the AP, but I mean, there's teams. So far Georgia and Bama and Ohio State have been able to dodge those so far. We'll see if it continues. Like I said, dude, I mean, we're just week 4, guys. We got a long way to go here.
Oh yeah.
But I'm excited, dude. I definitely don't think that's off the table this year, compared to years past. I think it's definitely possible. But
Yeah.
Injuries, we got to stay healthy, dude. We've already that freaking Akron game caught. I mean, we lost a couple big guys, just to being not 100%. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah.
it'll be exciting, dude. We just got to stay healthy and keep one game at a time and stay focused, which I know they will. I'm just excited, dude. I just love this team this year, man. I thought last year's team was great, but dude, this year's team has just blown my expectations away offensively,
Yeah.
dude. It's been awesome.
Dude, I agree, man.
Yeah, its maturity's definitely stepped up.
It feels
Yeah.
good.
It's exciting to be involved, man.
It feels
Yeah,
good to
it
be in the
is, too.
top 10.
Man.
Feels good to be in the top 10, man.
Yeah. Did y'all see that SEC short they put out?
Dude, that was
That
hilarious.
stuff was so hilarious. Oh,
If you
I
guys
love
haven't
that.
seen it, you should watch it. You too, anyone
Yeah,
watching,
for sure.
check out SEC
Oh, yeah.
Shorts. They're hilarious. But yeah, we'll let you end it off, Connor.
Okay, if we don't have anything else, we'll end it off with that. This is going to conclude, obviously, another great episode of the VolBoyz podcast. While you're here watching us, remember to subscribe on our YouTube and also follow our socials on Instagram and Twitter. That's VolBoyz podcast with a Z. Remember to tune in to next episode, and if you haven't, y'all, come on now. Watch last week's episode where we break down the Week 3 AP poll and take a look around college football landscape. And with that, I want you all to have a great week, and always remember, it's great to be a Tennessee Vol.
Go
Sir, go
Yes,
Vols,
sir.
baby.
Go Vols.
All right, Coach, one of the greatest rivalries in college football. What does this one mean to Vols Nation?
How much fun is this, man? God, I love it. Kids competed. Man, battled all night long. Fans were awesome. Environment's better than anything I've ever experienced. What a win.
At one point, we didn't even know if Hendon Hooker was healthy enough to come in. What can you say about your quarterback's performance tonight?
He was electric all night long. Unbelievable job throwing the football. Used his speed opportunistically, man, and just competed, man. And everybody fed off his energy on the offensive side of the ball. Hell of an effort by him tonight.
This is an incredible environment right now. But up next, you got LSU, you got Bama. What do you want the college football world to know about this program?
It's just the beginning of this journey with these guys, but I absolutely love our football team, man. They compete really hard. They practice great. They love one another. This is college football as good as it gets, man. Rocky Top's back. Let's go.
Go celebrate.